So yesterday I was talking to a lady about something that just completely breaks my heart from so many different angles and in so many different ways. And she was sharing her story about how she's gone years without being diagnosed properly for PCOS, confused, struggling, thinking that everyone else has it together and she just can't figure out how to lose weight, how to not feel disgusting in her body, her words. And I was talking to her about have you talked to your doctor about this? And she said, I have talked to my multiple doctors, multiple times, and I've gotten passed around, and I have finally at the age of 39 gotten diagnosed. And that breaks my heart because it's, as a provider, as a practitioner, I'm a physician assistant. I've seen patients and diagnosed patients and treated patients with PCOS as well as other diseases. And to be in that moment with a patient when they realize what's going on with them and remembering back to when I was diagnosed with PCOS, that is a very vulnerable moment, but it's also a moment of clarity. And to go years and years without getting the proper diagnosis is so unfortunate. And it brings me to the concern and problem of PCOS in the more traditional modern medicine. And it's not that doctors don't care. Now, blanket statements here. It's not that doctors don't care, but as a practitioner myself, when we have very little to nothing to offer a patient, we lose interest in a disease because it's like, the patient walks in and you go and you talk to them and you discover what's going on with them. And sure, you run some tests and the tests come back and sure enough, it's PCOS. And at that moment, as a practitioner, our heart sinks because we know we have very little to offer. And we have a 15-minute at best appointment with someone. The amount that we can do in that time frame is so limited. And it's just sad from so many angles. So what happens is that we kind of brush it aside. We say, lose weight and your symptoms will get better. But I remember back to when I was seeing patients that there's we don't have any follow-up to that. We could give you metformin, we could give you Clomid. Yes, there are things we can do, but they don't give you the true solution. And as a physician or a practitioner like myself, we understand that it's not in our scope to walk you through how to heal your PCOS. We understand that it's possible. We know that, food and exercise and lifestyle, we know it's powerful medicine, but that's not our area of expertise. And so I liken it to if you want the best produce, you should probably go to the farmer's market. If you want the best bread, you should probably go to the bakery. And when you go to your physician at your medical clinic, you're getting one thing, and when you go to other sources of healthcare, you're getting another. And it's not one is right or wrong, but they are different. And so today, I want to talk a little bit about, it's a long introduction, but I want to talk a little bit about how to find the right practitioner to help you finally conquer your PCOS. And the steps to do this are really possibly coming up with an entire team. You may need medication, so you might need a prescription. If you don't know if you have PCOS, you may need a licensed practitioner who can diagnose you. That may take some trial and error to find the one that's willing to work with you. And I don't mean willing as in they'll see you. I mean the one that's really willing to hear you out. And it has nothing to do with whether or not they're a nice person. Some people have an ear for hearing the possibility of PCOS, and others have a different bend, a different interest. We're all human. And so you have to remember that your physician or your practitioner is human, and they have their own interests. They have the things that really light them up. And for me, that's PCOS. I don't know why, it just is. So you have to find someone who has a passion for that, who's ready to work with you, who's excited to work with you. It's a little bit of a dating game of finding the right practitioner. And of course, there's hurdles to that, but there is with everything. So find a practitioner that will help you get diagnosed. Step 1. Step 2, if you're interested in taking medications or at least learning about which ones are out there, find someone who can walk you through that. Of course, if you have questions, I can help you with that as well. But from a more general standpoint, not particularly with your situation, because this is just general information. It's not meant to diagnose or treat anyone. And then besides the medicine, finding someone who can help you really understand what changes you can make to your lifestyle to do away with your PCOS and reverse it completely. It's actually something that can be completely reversed. Yes, you will always have it. It cannot be cured, but it is something where you can reverse the hormone imbalance and bring them back into alignment and live free from the symptoms. And so that's something that is hugely empowering and I think is often lost when it comes to our visit with our physician. Other than lose weight and your symptoms will get better. They touch on it, but they touch on it in a way that women don't fully understand. It's offensive that you brought my weight into this, and that they left you with no action steps. Okay, so the next step after you've decided whether or not medication is for you, after you've been diagnosed, is understanding the lifestyle. And in order to do that, I would recommend seeing either a naturopathic physician, a functional medicine physician, which is a physician or a practitioner, mid-level practitioner like myself, who has gone on to functional medicine training in more of a lifestyle approach to healing things that we have. Side note, guys, modern medicine was based off of acute situations. So it's based off of a heart attack. It's based off of a broken bone. It's based off of things like that. It does not serve us as well when it comes to a chronic disease like an inflammatory disease, an autoimmune disease. This takes a special type of physician who has an interest in those areas. Ooh, we're getting fussy. Okay, so let's move along so we can finish this up. Okay, so when you start to look at the ability to adjust your lifestyle, you may need a team. I'm a health coach because I have my physician assistant training, but I got frustrated with not having the resources to give my patients, the time to give my patients. And so I've transitioned to being able to really be there in a different capacity. I have the medical knowledge, I have the science background, but at the same time, I have been through this myself. I've learned what works for me, and I want to be able to share it in a different way than just with lab tests and prescriptions, procedures, and so forth. So when it comes to finding a team, it's a little trial and error. It's figuring out who needs to be part of your life. It's figuring out who is in your area, who you know, where you get your information from. And it takes a little bit of just, kind of feeling out, are they credible? Do they know what they're talking about? Because this day and age, a lot of people can get online and say stuff that may be right for them, but may not be right for you. And that's why understanding kind of the root of where your PCOS is founded is so impactful. And by that, I mean kind of what type of PCOS you have, because that's where you want to start your treatment efforts. So I hope that helps when it comes to the frustration of where do you find the right practitioner. You have to remember it's broken down. So here in the US, at least, I'm sure it's different in other parts of the world, but here in the US, it's broken down quite a bit. You have your physicians, you have your DOs, you have your mid-level providers like practitioners and nurse, like PAs and nurse practitioners. But then you have different specialties. So you have people that in OBGYN can help with PCOS. Family medicine can help with PCOS. Endocrinology can help with PCOS. And so there's another one I'm thinking of that I can't think of at the moment. So then they're going to be able to diagnose you, possibly give you all sorts of great information. What I wish I had had at the time when I was practicing was someone that I could refer my patients to for nutritional advice that would be correct for PCOS. I wish I'd had a really awesome handout to give them so that they could kind of get started in thinking that direction. And those are things I didn't have, and I found that frustrating as a provider. And that's who I've become, someone that can help with that. But the next part is that does your practitioner, do they have the skills to help you with the lifestyle changes? If no, then it's time to find another person to add to your team. And that person may be someone who has a functional medicine degree. It might be someone who is more of a health coach. It could be a nutritionalist. But it's important to make sure that they understand the ins and outs of this hormone disorder of polycystic ovarian syndrome. And, ideally, maybe they've even had it. There's a lot of people that are practicing in this area that have it or have someone that they know that has it. And so they are a lot more familiar with what does and doesn't work. So, all right, I'm going to wrap that up for today because that's already a lot longer than I meant to go. But it's an important topic because if we can't get the help that we need, we're going to sit in a place of struggling. We're going to sit in a place of confusion and frustration, and we feel blocked. We don't feel like we can make any sort of progress, where it's once we feel like we're starting to get the help that we need, we can finally break free, get started, take action, feel empowered and enthusiastic, and ultimately that does so much to lift our mood and make us excited to take the next step forward. So if you have questions about finding the right provider, feel free to message me, comment below, and I'll be here to answer those questions. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.